actively participates in human rights actions in Malaysia, standing in solidarity with other groups, something I wish that more non-profits and NGOs did in Singapore. But Pannir's life should not have to be justified by all the contributions that he has beautifully shared with us. He is an uncle who puts the pictures of his nieces and nephews on his cell wall. He is a brother whose sisters call him their life and have dedicated their entire existence for the last 8 years to fight for his life, never losing hope. He is a son and a man who loved his mom's mutton curry, a man who took joy in playing different musical instruments and football. I feel immense horror at seeing what the state has done to death row inmates and to our citizens. They dehumanize drug mules to manufacture our citizens' consent for the war on drugs and the death penalty. And in the process, they are dehumanizing all of us. What does it mean to continue living life normally while injustice happens in our name? What does it mean to teach our children that all human life should be preserved and harm should not be done to people, while we live in a reality and a country where harm and murder can be done as long as you're in power, because it's the law? What does it mean about us as people that we have citizens fiercely defending the government's right to take a life? Supporters of the death penalty say it's better for those on death row to die because it's wasting taxpayer money to keep them. At the same time, they are okay with taxpayer money being used on the salaries and benefits of police officers who catch and send people to their deaths, the public prosecutors who fight damn hard to send people to their deaths, and the prison officials who work dutifully to send people to their deaths without ever being able to touch their family members. Is this work that they are being paid for a public service to us?
No.
Yes, no. Are we really okay with our ministers getting massive amounts of salary and being able to build a palace for, let's say it again, working fearlessly and courageously to send people to their deaths by changing laws, persecuting activists, spreading propaganda, and being applauded for this work on the basis of his opinion and state-sanctioned biased research, not actual proven facts and proven interventions that have worked all around the world if he just cared to look? They say drug traffickers ruin lives by causing addiction. Let's settle this right here and right now. Addiction is not caused by the consumption of drugs. Addiction comes from pain, alienation from purpose, love, community, and belonging. Addiction is caused by capitalism. Addiction is caused by the conditions set in place by our government's greedy subservience to capitalism and money at the cost of our people. They say they kill them for our safety. I'd say if we ask the majority of people residing in Singapore right now who we fear the most, it's the state, it's the police, it's the legal system. How are we protecting ourselves and those most persecuted from the state? I think the second answer for most people is family. And we all know how family is a great tool used to suppress us as well from doing what we know is right and what we know is our principles. There is the belief that what led death row inmates to their fate was choice. But honestly, it's just luck, guys. If you're poor, this country is unforgiving to you and will never let you forget how insignificant your life is and how unwelcome you are in our country. If the state really cared about people suffering from addiction, they would focus more on creating conditions where people would not need to find escape from the pains in their life. Instead, what they choose to do is to scapegoat people like Pannir so that they don't have to answer for the failures to their people. Are we all okay with this madness?
No.
Are we all angry?
Yes.
I don't mean to be melodramatic here, but I am deeply, deeply worried at the soul level about the people we are and what we tolerate to happen for ourselves and for others because of the fear that we have inside of us, that we have been indoctrinated to have. But that being said, I know all of us here today absolutely refuse to accept this as status quo. Do we reject the assertion that we need to kill to be safe?
Yes.
Do we believe that the government should be listening to us and be at the mercy of us, not us to them?
Yes.
The only way forward is to show them that there are true and actual costs, serious costs to continuing to destroy lives, that there are very, very high stakes to betraying your citizens and the values that they hold. There is so much that all of us have done, and there is so much that more of us can do in large numbers. Today we are here to mourn and grieve, but also to resist and to practice resistance for what it is. For that is what it will take to build a country we want, where no death will ever be done in our name, ever, ever, ever again. So now, let us show what it means to put our voices and bodies on the line for our values and principles, for what is done in our name. We would like to invite everyone to hold your placards up high right now and to chant with us. So on your chant sheet, you can refer to the chant number 2.
So on page 3 of your chant sheet. Okay, can I see all your placards up high right now? Okay, so we're going to do chant number 2. So when I say, what do we want? You say justice. And I say, when do you want it? You say now. And afterwards, when I say, what do we want? You say freedom. And when I ask, when do we want it? You say now. Okay, can I? Very easy. Okay. What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Freedom!
When do we want it?
Now!
One last time, what do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Freedom!
When do we want it?
Now!
Thank you. So as we gather here in solidarity with those on death row, the state plans to execute Pannir tomorrow. Some of the songs being played in the background earlier were written by him. One of them is called Pintu Bersih. Through this song, he talks about the pain of forced isolation and the pain of longing and hope in the face of despairing situation. The lyrics and translations are also available in the chant sheet. Which page?
I think you can find yourself.
Yeah, okay, you'll find yourself. It's somewhere there in the chant sheet. So let us now listen to this song, Pintu Bersih, together. And if you know this song, if you've heard it before, feel free to sing along as well.
Aku terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi. Terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi. Tiada bulan, tiada bintang di sebalik pintu besi. Di sebalik pintu besi, di sebalik pintu besi. Terjerat dalam bayangan rindu, dalam bayangan rindu. Tanpa pancaran nur kasihmu, nur kasihmu. Saat sunyi mencekam hati, terketar jiwaku mula mencari. Bertanya di mana dirimu, membosan nafasku bising namamu. Tak sempat ku habis bicara, terbuka segalanya di dada. Engkau mula berpaling tada, enggan memberi peluang kedua. Aku terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi. Terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi. Tiada bulan, tiada bintang di sebalik pintu besi. Di sebalik pintu besi, di sebalik pintu besi.
Bukan niat aku mencari salah siapa, mencari salah siapa. Kau melangkah pergi, menambah lagi duka, menambah lagi duka.
Agar ku terhanyut jauh darimu,
Namun setiap
putaran waktu
memburuku dengan kenalan lama. Bekas semula memori kita bersama.
aku terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi, terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi. Tiada bulan, tiada bintang di sebalik pintu besi, di sebalik pintu besi, di sebalik pintu besi.
Aku cucu berlemas dalam arus masa. Di mana ceritanya tiada nota. Aku cucu berlemas dalam arus masa. Di mana ceritanya tiada nota.
Aku terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi, terkurung kesorangan di sebalik pintu besi. Tiada bulan, tiada bintang di sebalik pintu besi, di sebalik pintu besi, di sebalik pintu besi.
The song that Pannir wrote. We will now be hearing from Diana. She is a stay-at-home mom who previously worked for 8 years with youths the state termed as youths at risk. She has a strong belief that no life is dispensable or irredeemable.
Hello everyone. I was about to be a wreck right after Sobi's speech, and I will never ever forget that I found comfort in the song written by a death row inmate who's about to be executed tomorrow. So my name is Diana, and I am a mother of 2. I teach my children about consent. I tell them your body, your choice. How do I raise them in a country where the state thinks they own our bodies and can do the ultimate harm to them, which is to kill them? I teach my children that it's okay to make mistakes. What's important is we learn from them. How do I raise them in a country where a mistake will lead to the court sentencing them to death without looking back? I teach my children that we don't hurt the people we love. How do I raise them in a country that does not love them? So like Sobi said, I used to work with at-risk youths. This is what the state called them because they were at risk of offending, or some of them already had. But in reality, they were youths in need of care and connection. Part of my job was to refer these youths to community service that would help them feel a sense of belonging. And it was hard for me to find available services for all of them. If it was hard for me, what about them? What resources did they have to rely on before leading to offending? And it wasn't really a lack of consequential thinking that led to them to do what they did. We all know what the consequences are in this country. It was always a moment of desperation, of needing to be connected to something that felt bigger and better than their pain. So many of the people on death row developed an addiction to substances as children, and so many of them were arrested for being drug couriers in their youth. I've spoken to enough at-risk youths who started consuming drugs to know that their background stories are no different from the death row prisoners. A life of trauma history, a lack of socioeconomic stability, and a lack of attachment relationships are some commonalities. This in no way makes them a bad person. It highlights a gap that not everyone is benefiting from the so-called meritocracy in this country, and an extremely lazy and cruel thing to do is to kill them. My work with youth made me come across this TED Talk by Johan Hari, titled Everything You Know About Addiction is Wrong. And how I wish our ministers and fellow Singaporeans listened to it. One key takeaway that I got from the talk was that Johan Hari shared, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it is connection. And what do we do with drug addicts in this country? We label them, we rehabilitate them behind bars. Our drug rehabilitation center is pretty much a prison within the prison complex. Drug users are made to go cold turkey in hope that they would snap out of it when they eventually get to return to society. Drug offenders are people who are already disconnected. And the consequence that they are given for offending is further disconnection. How does this help them? How do we expect them to get back on their feet when they come out? Even more disconnected than before. The stigma of someone who has been incarcerated is a social harm that widens inequality and perpetuates disconnection. And this is a vicious cycle that a drug offender goes through in this country. Where is the help they need? Where is the support? Which drug user or anyone who has fallen into the drug war is going to reach out for help if they know that if they do, they're going to be punished? Pannir Silvam was a drug courier. The state chose to believe that he is a bad person who should be killed. When you make a conscious choice that someone needs to be rid of, a human life, you believe that they are beyond redemption, that their life is no longer of use to you or the country. Is this really the society we live in? Where the state can decide this and the rest just turn a blind eye? Pannir Silvam and his family members set up an NGO for vulnerable families to help those who were in the same plight as Pannir before he was incarcerated. They feel the gap that our state is too blinded with power to focus on. If it takes a mistake for the court to not be able to save you from death, then I am so scared. For myself, for my children, for my family members, for my neighbors, for my friends, for everyone. And this confuses me to no end. Why am I scared when they claim that they are keeping me safe? Something is not right. This brings me to a poem written by Pannir Silvam behind bars in 2021. And in it, he critiques social inequality, war, and systemic neglect, capturing the suffering of the poor and vulnerable while questioning the world's indifference. This one's called Silent Tears. A violent flood of silent tears, torrent of bloods, souls engulfs fear. The aftermath of warfare, all long years, elevated walls for welfare, can't we hear? Dear life slips away, evaporated in the air. Do we care to be fair? Plagues of poverty lays millions in cemetery, healthcare funds lost in warfare guns. Issue of bread and butter aren't getting any better. Access to clean water unanswered even years later. Struggles of poor parents surviving on odd job and errand to meet the end and pay rent in the wakes of their absent. Love between child and them seem distant. Angers of hunger in the eyes of youngers, how much longer must they remain stronger? For a bowl of rice, poorest has to pawn their life, burdened by the stash of cash, some molds toilet bowls out of gold. Bullets' holes decorated the school's walls, classes loaded with shattered glasses. Bricks and cement blocks instead of books, hand tattooed of bruises and pains instead of brushes and pens. Child labours and serfdom instead of childcare and freedom. Boiled under heat and toils, not just their present, rather their future too. Exploitations instead of education. Predators instead of tutors. Together we can dry those eyes by making a choice to be the voice that wipes the silent tears. Why looking so far? There's always someone near. I don't understand how someone behind bars can think and write so clearly when he has nothing but four walls to look upon. While many of us fail to see how interconnected all struggles are. Tonight, Pannir's struggle takes center stage. He is scheduled to be executed at dawn tomorrow. I was going to read a short chapter from the Quran, which I thought was applicable to us today, but seeing that we cannot do that, I will still share my reflection on it anyway. Pannir will always be remembered as an artist and an activist, not a drug trafficker. I believe his status was raised. The NGO that he started with the help of his family will always be his legacy that will live on no matter what happens tomorrow. And this also reminds me of Pannir's sister's angel's letter to him. When he asked her to move on with her life, she said he has made her life more beautiful, and she notices the beauty in everything because of him. With every hardship comes ease. This chapter that I was referring to, it urges readers not to see hardship as something that is hard to overcome, but as an opportunity to find ease, to not see hardship as an obstacle but as keys to open more doors. It also teaches human beings how to care for each other. The last two verses. So basically, at the end of the day, once we finish our work here, we can go back home to what keeps us safe and what keeps us going. For some, it can be the prayer mat. For some, it can be comrades. For some, it can be family. In solidarity with all the death row prisoners and their family members, this is the storm before the calm, and we shall overcome. Before I get off the stage, I'm just going to lead with 2 chants. And I think I will do the same one that Elijah did just now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it now? And then the second one is, what do we want? Freedom. When do we want it now? Can we do that? Yes. Okay. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Freedom.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Freedom.
When do we want it?
Now.
I'm going to do another one today. It's not in the book, but it goes, 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the killing now, 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 now. Can we do that?
Yes.
1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the bombing now, 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 now. I want to see your hands in the air. Is this enough rage for someone who's going to be executed tomorrow? 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the killing now, 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 now. 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the killing now, 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 now. I will hand it off to the next speaker. Thank you. We shall overcome. So the next speaker is Zaid. He's a Polytechnic student and one of the youngest members of Transformative Justice Collective. He's also a member of Workers Make Possible. Zaid?
Okay, thank you, Dania. Can we get a round of applause for Dania one more time? Yeah, her speech was very touching and very inspiring also. So, they called me up here today to be the voice of students. And that was a very big ask because I'm like one person only, you know. But in that time where I was considering about giving the speech and coming up here and standing up here, I had a lot of things running through my mind. I was thinking about the speech, I was thinking about my school and the work that I have to complete, you know. I was thinking about my performance academically, I was thinking about my friends, and I'm thinking about my family, right? And I'm here and I'm sitting and I'm stressing about what can I write and how can I write and how can I be the voice of the students and more importantly also tell Pannir's story and the story of all those who have been murdered by the state respectfully and give them the justice that they never got. And then I realized to be able to sit down in my home and think about my school and my family and friends is such a great privilege. You know, I was sitting down on a Sunday night thinking about homework. And I can't imagine what it must have been like for Pannir to sit down all alone somewhere in Changi, knowing that he is a dead man walking. Knowing that in 4 days, because of a mistake that he made more than a decade ago, his life will be taken by the state that he grew up in, the state that he was once a student of too. You know, death row inmates, they were all students once. And when I see a death row inmate, I struggle to imagine what it must be like for the teachers or the ex-classmates who now see their peer or their student as another statistic. Moreover, another statistic that the government will use to prove to everyone that we are a safe and happy nation. That through murder and execution, like lambs through a slaughter, we are safe. In school, we are taught to analyze and to always probe deeper for understanding. And in this, I've used what the public education system has taught me to scrutinize my state's actions and ask what kind of state do I want to be a student of? Do I want to inherit? Most students in Singapore are results of the public education system. And it is important that we remember that the public education system is mainly funded by those of working class and middle class backgrounds. But more often than not, just like in the public education system, in our state system too, those from working class backgrounds and marginalized backgrounds are the ones who suffer the system's cruelty the most. Shame. Yes, shame! So, with all of this, right, all of this exposition, what can we do, right? As students, we are taught to study hard and we are taught to work hard, right? Work hard and study hard, and the marks and the fruits of your labors will be seen for themselves. And I believe that we must carry this attitude through in our own actions in our lives. Because there is no point to study so hard and to think so hard if at the end of the day, on the day of the exam, you don't show up. It will all be for nothing. This year, 2025, is an election year. For those students who are above 21 and have the right to vote, please vote earnestly and responsibly for MPs that you know will give you a Singapore that you want to inherit when you graduate. But for those of us who are too young and have our suffrage taken away from us, there's still a lot that we can do. The things that we learn in the classroom is not just to be kept inside the four walls. We can bring it out into the world and use it to shape it as we see fit. Volunteer for causes that you believe in. Share your knowledge with your peers to build a better city. Because actions, making change, is not something that you learn in a book. It's something that you must go out and you must do and you must fight to take for yourself. We must also remember that we are a meritocratic system. This is something that we learn and is drilled into us from day one of primary school. That everyone is treated fairly, everyone is the same. Most important is how hard you work. But increasingly, as I've grown up in this city, I start to see the cracks in this statement and I start to see the lies of this. But we mustn't be disillusioned. Don't be fooled by what you see in Parliament House. Don't be fooled to think that the only men in this country who can make a change are those who come from the most elite and exclusive institutions in this city. Because making change can come from anywhere. Doesn't matter if you're ITE, if you're from junior college, polytechnic, or university, even secondary school students or primary school children can make a change. Making change and making this city better is not about book smarts. It doesn't matter how much you pay for tuition. It doesn't matter where you go for secondary school and whether you get O-level or IB cert. Doesn't matter how many scholarships you get offered to you. It is all about how much action you put in and what you are willing to fight for. Lastly, we think about like what is at the end of all of this journey as a student. So, after all the final submissions and all of the final assignments, I think about the last question that I will have to answer as a student is, what kind of country do I want to inherit? You know? And I think it's high time that a lot of students in Singapore start to study and find the answer to this question for themselves. What is the Singapore that you want to inherit? What's a Singapore that you want to commit actions in your name for? Thank you. And this question, very easy to answer. Open book one, no word count. Okay, so I need to introduce the next speaker. Give me a second. All right, so to introduce the next speaker, we have Valencia. Valencia is a multidisciplinary artist who creates graphics and medias for the anti-death penalty movement. So can I have a round of applause for Valencia, please?
Thank you, Zaid. Hi, everyone. Okay. So, like myself and many others, he is an artist. He expressed himself behind steel bars, censored by Singapore's prison system. His audience was concrete walls and the CCTV that surveilled his cell 24/7. The greatest freedom to take away from an artist is the freedom of expression, and from a human, the freedom to live. He was robbed of everything when he was sentenced to death in 2017. Put yourself in his shoes for a moment. Your family is doing everything to make ends meet. So you dropped out of secondary school and went to Singapore in a desperate attempt to put food on the table for your family back in Ipoh. Job after job after job, you encountered a lucrative deal that made life a bit easier for yourself and your family, but the job was to transport a package across checkpoint. So you take it, seeing no harm, but got caught and got thrown in jail in 2014, got served the death penalty in 2017, had many appeals rejected, and here we are in 2025. If you have a sinking feeling in your heart right now, imagine how much worse it is for those inmates. This arduous journey would have worn you down, but not Pannir. I have heard from Carsten that despite the circumstances, he still sought knowledge through the books in prison. He would borrow cuts of literature, requesting for new ones so that he could enrich himself. He would read legal letters for his fellow inmates and never gave up despite the impending doom. 11 years in prison, he is still fighting for his life. A misstep from him, and how is he doomed to die? How is the legal system not able to see that he has changed? Is our system that cruel to take one's life away without giving a second chance? How is any of this possible? He wrote in an article for Malaysia Kini in 2019, and he quoted Edgar Allan Poe. He said, "In my vision of the dark night, I have dreamed of joy departed, but a warning dream of life and light has left me broken-hearted." Pannir continued, "The above rings true when you understand what goes on here. For some inmates, perhaps all, every waking hour reminds us of nothing but pain and regret, and that all these things that we are going through are real. I cannot and only write about what is good and positive. How can I be positive all the time, staying in death row, and not even being given a chance for redemption? We stand here today pleading the legal system to let Pannir live, to sing his songs, to speak his poems. Singapore has been criticized time and time again by international organizations for this archaic law, questioning when will this senseless killing stop. The fear-mongering has not worked and will not work, so why not look to other solutions instead of persisting on the old ways? I leave everyone hope in Pannir's words. Amidst all of this, I have to draw a line, find a balance between everything, between hope and reality, in spirituality, in morals, in good and bad, and in almost everything. I have to know where I am standing. If I fail to find that balance, then whatever I've been through or learned these past few years will have amount to nothing. In the midst of all these struggles and these troubles, I must not lose myself, but strive even harder to find myself. When the prison silences him, we will give him a voice. When the prison tries to execute him, we fight for his life. Okay, we will end off with a chant. The chant a bit long, so you will just have to say end life after every line that I say. So for example, when I say end poverty, you say not life. Not life, yeah. Okay, let's start. End poverty. Not life. End racism. Not life. End oppression. End exploitation. End desperation. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so before we continue, we just have a small request to make. Could everyone who has a tea light switch on their tea lights right now so that we can see it? And for anyone who doesn't have, just raise your hands so that volunteers know that you don't have it, and then they can come over to pass to you.
All right, keep your hands up as you don't have the tea lights. Keep it up, and they will pass it to you. And while that's happening, let's continue chanting what Valencia was leading earlier. So when I say end poverty and end everything else that follows, you say not life, all right? Can we do that?
Yes!
All right. End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not
I
life!
see your fists and placards up in the air. Fists and placards. Sorry, I just realized it will confuse people who are passing the lights. Never mind. Don't hold up first. Later. Okay, chant first. End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
End the death penalty!
Not life!
Thank you.
Woo!
Anyone else still don't have tea lights? All have, huh? Okay. Okay, then we do one more round. You hold your placards and your fists up. Up. End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will now be hearing from Suilin and Kesu, who are a long-time married ukulele-playing actor couple who are firm abolitionists that pray for a more compassionate Singapore. They will be singing along as well, so please do hold up your candlelights or torches as they sing. Let's give them a round of applause.
Hi everyone. Thank you for your patience. It's quite something trying to work on the mound, but it's a natural stage, isn't it?
Hi everyone. Hello. We're the ukulelems. We love to play ukulele together. We've been acting together for a long time, married for 33 years, which is quite a long time. And we are passionate
Advocates of the
against the death penalty in Singapore.
Yeah.
We are passionate about it. It is a barbaric, violent act that is performed by the state in our name. And we don't want it to be performed in our name because this violence only propagates more violence. It does not bring peace to our society.
We're going to sing a song by the Beatles that we have changed the lyrics, and it's called Two of Us. Two of us riding nowhere, trying to go where rainbows high. You and me Sunday driving, not arriving on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. Two of us sending emails, writing letters on my wall. You and me burning matches, lifting latches on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. for the lives of prisoners on death row. You and me breaking silence against the violence on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. You and I have empathy stronger than the flame that rages inside our souls. Two of us making rainbows, lifting shadows on our souls. You and me advocating, not forsaking, on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home.
Thank you.
Hey guys, so we are good friends of Pannir Selvam and his family. I first heard of Pannir Selvam through another artist in Singapore, a young poet and playwright by the name of Alfian Saad. Alfian was so taken by Pannir because they were similar in age, and he was taken by his creativity, and he had so much compassion for Pannir that I was drawn to the same place as Alfian.
Pannir Selvam is an inspiringly transformed human being. He has reformed himself while he was in prison, and he's now a strong advocate, and he's set up an NGO to help youngsters who may be in the same position as him, who may have made the same mistakes that he made as a young man. And he has spent a lot of time and money, and his family has helped him to do this.
It was very sad for us that they let the family come in on Saturday, and it was really heartless for them not to inform them that he was going to be executed. They didn't tell them until Sunday morning. And when we heard the news, it was really heartbreaking.
Yes.
Their parents were still in church, and they didn't have a smartphone. They were waiting to tell them. And we really, really wish that Singapore, if we are going to be executing people, can we be more compassionate? Can we please have some feelings?
We have become fast friends with Pannir Selvam's family. We first met the younger sister, Angelia, at the anti-death penalty conference in Kuala Lumpur. We soon met his elder sister, Shankari, and younger brothers, Joshua and Isaac. We also met Shankari's husband, Prasad, and son, Lucas. And so we love their family very much. We would now like to read Pannir's poem about his younger sister, Angelia.
This is called Angel with Invisible Wings, dedicated to my angel. Angel isn't just her name. She stays true in person, and her heart just the same. One and only little sister, graceful yet a fighter of the love for a brother. She braces storm and twister. Days in, days out, she fights so hard so that cold hearts can learn to warm up. Angel with invisible wings, soar high, chase your dreams, afraid not of furious wind. Pursue what your heart screams. You are our family's little queen.
On each visit departure, I am hacked and ruptured, separated by flexi structure, where we share God's scripture. Your laughter and letter are my motivation factors.
For now, that's what all matters. With hope for the day to get better. Till then, far apart by 100 miles, yet we are close the moment I remember your smile. This was written on the 25th of August 2020 by Pannir Selvam. I want to ask KSU now to sing a song that he wrote in the 1980s when he was doing a play. He was playing a character that was dying of HIV. Guys, the only constant in life is change. And HIV was like a death sentence in the 80s. Today, we know many people who live with this virus, and it's no longer taboo like before. We hope that change will happen. We hope that the death penalty will be abolished in our country. This song is called Give Me Just a Little More Time.
Made up my mind to make the most of things. No use in thinking what the end will bring. I've got so many things that I want to tell, and truths I need to find about myself. Had no direction, just took what I could. I didn't think of giving or doing any good. I've got so many things that were left unsaid before, and I find there isn't time anymore. Oh, please give me just a little more time. Won't you help me find my peace of mind? Save me from my own past lies. Please give me just a little more time. I'm hanging on, just live from day to day. I don't understand it, I don't know who to blame. I've got so much love left inside of me, but here I am alone, I'm so lonely. Oh, please give me just a little more time. Won't you help me find my peace of mind? Save me from my own past lies. Please give me just a little more time. Please give me just a little more time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Before we finish our segment, we want to do a little chant as well. I think we're very grateful to be part of the community tonight. We are a little bit less than young. I always say this on our live streams, indicating that we are not so young. And we're very grateful to TJC. You know, you guys are leading the way for us. So thank you for including us.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very grateful. Thank you. And thanks everybody for being here. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
What chant?
You do the heko.
This chant is going to be, we're going to say, hey, ho, hey, ho. And then you say, the death penalty has got to go. Hey, ho, hey, ho. The death penalty has got to go. Hey, ho, hey, ho.
The death penalty has got to go.
Hey, ho, hey, ho.
The death penalty has got to go.
Hey, ho, hey, ho. Last one. Hey, ho, hey, ho.
Next one, execution is not the solution. Execution. Execution is not the solution. Execution is not the solution. Execution is not the solution.
Execution is not the solution. Thank you, everybody. Now, we would like to invite
Therese, who is a law student. She is. I had the honor of meeting with her, and yet, like you know, she is me 40 years ago, and she asked me so many questions about the death penalty. She is a law student who believes in mercy, compassion, and second chances. Welcome, Therese, everybody. The stand? You can use the stand? Yeah, let her use the stand. Oh, you want to use the stand?
I'll first be reading a poem by Pannir titled Last Walk. Last Walk by Pannir. All my brothers, those who have fallen asleep, may all of you rest in peace. There's heaven for us where we will meet. Until then, the war isn't end. Life lessons learned for what we must live for. Life always worth fighting for. Lord, we rather die trying than just wait for dying. Life is tough, the going get rough. Yet those who still trying, let's keep our head up. Do our best and never give up. Here comes the real talk of the journey we walk. Life's full of havoc. Every day is a battle. Have to move without rattle. Can't find peace here in liquor's bottle. Struggles and troubles remain unsettled. To choose who is next. Justify it's all a court to text. Even in truth they know what they say was just pretext. Pretend nothing happened out of context. What has done is compulsory to protect. And it's crime if I try to protest. Lord, when will changes come? Or do we have to wait till kingdom come? The power is to do what is right, yet they choose to violate human right. The end life to end crime is out of time. Isn't this wicked act was around even before Jesus' time? Yet what it does to make our world a better place. The world a war zone, killing happen as if we are animals in Amazon. Execution and termination of life is not a solution, yet it's still in constitution, misguided delusion that supported violence, and still we choose to remain silent. Like games of dice, life roads disappeared before our eyes, get shackled and chained. They condemned us to death row, told we were dead as scarecrow. Dark alley full of sorrow, life and death are just narrow. Each awakened moment pierced as a poisoned arrow. Isolation and silence become our shadow. Oh Lord, the only path ahead are just gallows. Or is there any hope for tomorrow? Cold-blooded murder, souls are taken from my brothers. Assassination coming under orders. Isn't all lives are equals, or ours not at all to matter? Morally undermined, yet by law they say it doesn't mind. As I watch my brothers hit the last walk, handcuffed at their back, strapped the weight on their leg, without mercy, got hanged by their neck. Death squads come back. Brutal deprivation of freedom, oppression on expression, dream, hope, and ambition, denied right to life, and our voice for life, for them, and just noise and lie. Lord, when will changes come, or do we have to wait till kingdom come? Can we have applause for Pannir's poem? Tonight, I am speaking to you with grief. We lost Syed on 23rd Jan. We lost another unnamed individual on 7th February. And tomorrow at dawn, we lose Pannir Selvam, whose life we are gathered for here today. My name is Therese, and I'm a 23-year-old law student at a local university. Law school has taught me about the meaning of justice. We learn about how the system creates justice, gives redress for harm suffered, and corrects rights when there are wrongs. I love that the law represents centuries of attempts at justice. We try, and try again, with the hope and faith that today can be better tomorrow. But sometimes we don't succeed. Sometimes we fail. We learn that the law can bring unfair outcomes. We read case after case about people like Pannir Selvam who make a mistake, get tangled in the harshness of the presumptions under the drug laws, and die. I say the presumptions are harsh because the quantities of drugs serve as proxies to the accused person's culpability, which studies show can be problematic and not always accurate. In a 2018 article titled Redefining Drug Offences in Southeast Asia, legal scholar Marcus Bautzner said, "Couriers carry drugs paid for and owned by someone else. Because of this, the quantity of drugs carried is always decided by the person who pays for the drugs. To make a profit, a critical quantity must be carried. And that is why they send significant amounts with one drug courier." The scholar further goes on to state that the quantity of drugs carried is seldom something the courier has any influence over, and it certainly bears no correlation to any intent or culpability on the part of the courier, since the quantities are determined not by the courier. The conclusion is deafening. To drug kingpins, couriers' lives are worthless and always replaceable. 1, 2, 3 more lives lost will still never ever change the way these exploitative kingpins act. This makes me wonder, how many more Pannir Selvams before we realize that the death penalty is not working and that it is time for change? Pannir Selvam has been through a long fight. All the way back in 2017, he was sentenced to the mandatory death penalty. In 2018, his appeal was dismissed and clemency petitions submitted to the president. In 2019, he was informed that he will be executed in 1 week's time. And then he sought a stay of execution. After losing several more appeals in 2020 and 2022, he now awaits his final days. Throughout law school, I have never come across scientific evidence that the death penalty is effective. Instead, I keep hearing the opposite, that a death sentence does not reduce crime. I learned instead that drug crimes fluctuate year on year and are influenced by many other factors rather than the threat of death. There are many reasons why people commit serious crimes, as already highlighted by previous speakers. Once again, research shows that drug couriers are often from vulnerable segments of society, frequently driven by poverty, and may have little awareness of the severe penalties faced if caught. Again, I emphasize, 1 more life lost will not change the way that drug kingpins act. The law is always changing. It is not immutable. As a UK Supreme Court judge said, the law should reflect the people. I believe that Singapore is ready to move beyond the death penalty. We saw a glimpse of this shift in attitude in 2012 when Singapore removed the mandatory death penalty for certain offences. But it was not a blanket white removal, and some still carry the mandatory death penalty, but each one is one too many. So I believe that Singaporeans are ready for a more compassionate justice system. We want a system that cherishes the value of human life, that gives people who want to change a second chance at life. A system that doesn't redress a wrong with another wrong. It is time to move away from a system that says death is necessary. We are ready. I'll end off with a chant as well. I'll be using number 5. Execution is not the solution. Execution. It's not the solution. Execution. It's not the solution. Execution. It's not the solution. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So now we will be doing another chant together. Let's please all raise our placards together again. The chant that we will be doing is the first one, which goes justice for Pannir. And all of you will say justice, justice. Okay?
Justice for Pannir!
Justice, justice!
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 Thank you.
Now we'll be inviting up our next speaker, Kamira. Kamira is a content creator who uses her platform to advocate for the anti-death penalty movement.
Let's welcome Kamira.
Hello everyone. Today I stand before you as an advocate for a cause that is close to my heart. One that calls us to reflect on the value of life, the sanctity of human rights, and the irreversible consequences of state-sanctioned violence. We live in a world that often seems to be lost in the darkness of violence. A world where lives are taken as though they are mere numbers, where human beings are stripped of their dignity in the name of justice. We are told that the death penalty is a means to an end, a way to solve the problem of crime. But when we look deeper, we must ask ourselves, what does it truly solve? Does ending a life really end the violence in our world, or does it simply perpetuate the cycle? Get shackled and chained, they condemned us to death row, told we were dead as scarecrow. Dark alley full of sorrow, life and death are just narrow. Each awakened moment pierced as a poisoned arrow. Isolation and silence becomes our shadow. Oh Lord, the only path ahead are just gallows. Or is there any hope for tomorrow? The excerpt I've just shared with you was written by Pannir, who is scheduled to be executed tomorrow. Someone who knows all too well the despair and hopelessness of this sentence. It speaks of the fundamental question we must all ask. What is the purpose of taking a life to restore justice? End life to end crime is out of time. Isn't there wicked act was around even before Jesus' times? Yet what it does to make our world a better place. The world are a war zone. Killings happen as if we are animals in Amazon. Execution and termination of life is not a solution. Yet it is still in Constitution. Misguided delusion that supported violence, and still we choose to remain silent. It says end life to end crime is out of time. The power to do what is right is within us. Yet the state chose to violate human rights and ignore the deeper issues at play. We live in a world that is already a war zone, a place where violence is normalized, where the killing of others is accepted as a solution to our problems. But how can we, as a society, justify the execution of a person when that act of violence doesn't lead to peace, healing, or restoration? How does the termination of a life make our world a better place? How does it give us hope for tomorrow? Pannir wrote, like games of dice, life's road disappears before our eyes. This haunting line reflects the randomness of death in the system. The lives lost without meaning or justice, the arbitrary decisions that decide who lives and who dies. It is not a game. It is not a fair roll of the dice. It is a matter of life and death, of dignity and despair, and yet we remain silent. The death penalty does not solve crime. It does not restore peace. It does not heal the wounds of society. Instead, it perpetuates a misguided delusion of justice, one that supports violence, that chooses retribution over rehabilitation, and that overlooks the possibility of redemption and growth. We must ask ourselves, is there any hope for tomorrow? Can we continue to stand by while the system destroys lives in the name of justice? Or will we, as a society, choose to embrace compassion, to reject the death penalty, and to seek alternatives that foster healing and rehabilitation? The death penalty is not the solution. It is a stain on the fabric of our shared humanity. It is a relic of an age where violence was seen as the only answer, but we are not bound to the past. We have the power to choose a different path, a path that values life, a path that values justice, a path that values human dignity. Let us not be silent any longer. Let us raise our voices for those who have none. Let us demand a world where death is not the answer, and where every life is given the chance to heal, to change, and to contribute to a better tomorrow. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to lead you with a chant. Elijah can help me. Okay, so we are going to do chant number. Okay, which one? Okay, let's do number 4. Okay, when I say cage, torture, kill, you say there's no justice. Okay, are you guys ready? Cage, torture, kill.
There's no justice.
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 Thank you.
Next up, we have Iman. So Iman is a healthcare worker and has been frequently involved in door knocking sessions to talk to residents about the death penalty. Iman.
Hi everybody. Thank you, Kamira, for her speech. I think it's very moving. Okay. Yeah. So I'm a healthcare worker who has been going door knocking with TJC to collect signatures for the People's Petition for the moratorium on the death penalty. But today I'll be speaking from my perspective as a healthcare worker first, as well as my experiences door knocking. So working in the medical field, we have the moral obligation to advocate for our patients, to reduce suffering, promote autonomy, and ensure equitable care. But the death penalty is inhumane, violates the fundamental right to live, to life, and undermines medical ethics. For those incarcerated for drug offenses, they too deserve the right to life. We recognize the use of substances involves risk, but that is where we need to understand contextualized drug use and to advocate for responsible and safe drug use. People may resort to drugs as a means of escape, and this is one of the ways healthcare is essential in supporting them. We need better policies, programs, and practices that aim to minimize the negative health, social, and legal impacts associated with drug use. It's been proven that the death penalty is not a deterrent to drugs, but harm reduction strategies and a supportive healthcare system are. We cannot help someone if we take their life. Okay, so I volunteered to be a part of TJC's door knocking a few months ago. In the first few sessions, I was always pleasantly surprised by residents when they proved me wrong with their concerns surrounding the death penalty in Singapore. I've always felt that Singaporeans have the defeatist mindset when it comes to our policies and are generally uncomfortable with dialogue about it because we have always been socially engineered since young to learn and accept that the government knows what's best for its citizens. But the conversations I had reminded me that people are not naive and we are capable of humanity. And sometimes we just need to take the first step and just start the conversation, whether uncomfortable or not. But I also had the experience of speaking with a resident whose position was unfortunately in line with my fears. The discussion turned into a lengthy debate, and in hindsight, I felt like I could have done better in approaching the conversation. It's difficult to not get your emotions get the best of you when someone who comes from the same demographic as you is adamant on believing state propaganda and their prejudices, on top of downplaying the cause. They like to say these people have a choice, but did they really choose the circumstances they're in? Did they choose to struggle? Did they choose to be victims of systemic injustice? Would people ever freely choose the risk of being executed? People can say the most baffling and awful things, and as frustrating as it can be, they are still human. They may not be receptive to change or a difference in perspective, but they are still deserving of respect, and the conversation had is still a step forward in one way or another. I try to believe just because people are in support with the death penalty now, it doesn't mean that they will champion it forever. I've had more experiences with residents who were indifferent or believe in capital punishment, but had a change of heart at the end of the conversation. With just recounting the stories of death row prisoners, you see glimpses of their humanity seep through. But may we no longer have to speak about those who were wrongfully killed and convicted this way. May their stories symbolize justice from now on. With hundreds of conversations had and thousands of signatures in support of the petition to stop the killing, it already goes to show that the people don't represent the government. That in itself is a beacon of hope, which is a powerful tool for change. Hoping for change, hoping for justice is free. So why not continue hoping? We all can't be defeatist too. Justice for Pannir and everyone whose lives and families have been stolen from them by this cruel punishment. Okay, I'll end off by the first chant, where I say justice for Pannir and everybody just shouts justice, justice. Okay, everybody ready? Justice for Pannir! Justice for Pannir! Justice for Pannir! Okay, execute justice and not people. Thank you.
Thank you, Iman. All right, so we've concluded all the speeches for tonight. For this segment of the protest, we would like to invite everyone to stand up, on your feet, up, and come closer to one another. You know, let's huddle for a bit. All right, stand up, bring your placards with you, bring your tea lights with you, and come closer to one another. Closer, closer. Oh, okay. Okay, everyone close to one another. Can feel your neighbor's shoulders. Okay. Can come forward also. I won't eat you. It's okay. We come closer together. Okay, so... Okay, hold your placards up. Can I see everyone's placards? Yeah. Okay, hold it up high, hold it up high. I want to read your placards. So there are a few things on the placards. You know, very resonant themes from today. Not in our names. End poverty, not life. When prison silences him, we give him a voice. Okay, sorry, the lighting not very good, but I'm sure you all have very good signs. Stay.
Hangman is not a job.
Okay, anyone wants to shout your sign out?
End state murder.
End exploitation, not life. What else do you all have? This machine kills oppression. Abolish death penalty, end state violence. Not in our name. Let them live. All right, so let's end the night together. Okay, not yet end, just conclude this section together with a few chants. So, what I want to start with, when I say no more blood, no more blood on our hands, I want you to repeat that line, okay? Got it? Okay. No more blood, no more blood on our hands. No more blood, no more blood on our hands. No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood in our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
No more blood, no more blood on our hands.
Justice for Pannir.
Justice, justice.
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 What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Freedom.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Freedom.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Freedom.
When do we want it?
Now.
Hey ho, hey ho! The death penalty has got to go!
The death penalty has got to go.
Hey ho, hey ho!
Hey ho, hey ho.
The death penalty has got to go!
The death penalty has got to go.
Hey ho, hey ho!
Hey ho, hey ho.
The death penalty has got to go!
The death penalty has got to go.
Hey ho, hey ho!
Hey ho, hey ho.
The death penalty has got to go!
The death penalty has got to go.
Cage, torture, kill! Can just echo, no problem. Cage, torture, kill!
Cage, torture, kill.
There's no justice!
There's no justice.
Cage, torture, kill! There's no justice!
There's no justice!
Cage torture kill!
Cage torture kill!
There's no justice!
There's no justice!
Cage torture kill!
Cage torture kill!
There's no justice!
There's no justice!
Execution!
It's not the solution!
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 I want to hear you louder! Execution!
It's not the solution!
Execution!
It's not the solution!
Execution!
It's not the solution!
Say it louder so that Shamukam can hear it from Redoubt Road! Execution!
It's not the solution!
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 End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
I want to see your fist in the air! End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
End poverty!
Not life!
End racism!
Not life!
End oppression!
Not life!
End exploitation!
Not life!
End desperation!
Not life!
End the death penalty!
Not life!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
All your voices need to be louder than mine! No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
You know, today there are also protests happening in Ipoh and in KL. I want you to scream like we're chanting with them as well, okay?
Yeah!
Alright, I want KL to be able to hear us, okay?
Yeah!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
Show Malaysia your placards also! No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
Okay, tonight I want you to keep this energy, this spirit with you, and we keep the fight going together, okay? Is that alright? Yeah. Is that alright? Yeah. You keep fighting with us?
Yes!
You keep fighting strong?
Yes!
One last time. No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
No more blood, no more blood on our hands!
Thank you.
Now we will. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I think the government should be hearing us loud and clear right now. Yes! Woo! Okay, so as you all know, we also will be holding vigil and memorial. And today, on the eve of another heartless state-sanctioned murder, we hold this memorial to honor the victims of the death penalty. We remember our 12 brothers who have been executed since February 2024. Ahmad Salim, Muhammad Azwan bin Buhari, Rosman bin Abdullah, Masud Rahimi bin Mirzad, Syed Suhail bin Syed Zin, and 7 other brothers, sons, and fathers. And we hold a vigil for Pannir Selvam Prantaman, who is scheduled to be executed at dawn tomorrow morning. Let us observe a minute of silence for them.
Thank you. So we invite you now to sing We Shall Overcome with us.
Hi, everyone. We just got information from Pannir's family that he's won the stay of execution today.
Stay of execution.
So Pannir lives today, but this is not a change in his sentence. It's not a change in the conviction. And we have to continue to fight to abolish the death penalty, or at least to win a moratorium if Pannir is to live and be with his family. But today, we can breathe because Pannir will not be killed tomorrow at dawn. Pannir applied for a stay of execution 2 days ago, and he's been preparing very hard, and he represented himself in the submissions. And he had a hearing at 4 p.m. today, but the court vacated the hearing, and we were all very heartbroken because we thought that that was bad news, because when Masood's hearing was vacated, his application was then dismissed on the eve of his execution. But the prison just called the family and informed them that there will be no execution tomorrow. And we've also heard from another source that the execution has been stayed. So, yeah. So we keep fighting. Yeah.
So in light of that, let us all chant for justice for Pannir. Justice for Pannir!
Justice! Justice!
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 Let's keep fighting for him and the rest on death row. Now, we invite you now to sing We Shall Overcome together with us. If you could hold your lights up as we sing this together, that would be lovely. The lyrics are on page 4 of your handouts.
So today we've overcome a little bit with a good news that Pannir got a stay of execution. And we need to keep the fight going if we really want to overcome, alright?
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we sing? We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Thank you all. As we bring the speeches and performances to a close, I'd like to share with you an excerpt from a letter that Pannir wrote in 2019. It reads, I have a goal. I hope to live on, and I have a passion and direction in what I can do, if I ever do live. I've shared whatever I can here, and if you're reading this, I'm eternally thankful. This is just a small part of what I know. I believe I can be a better person. I've done my best to change in these 5 years, and I will do the same in the coming days. I value my life so much now, and I want to be there for my family too, as well as atone for sins to them, society, and my country. If given a chance, I do what I can to save a life. In my defense, I did not murder anyone. I did not take anyone's life. But I do admit my mistakes, and I sincerely apologize, as I did not know it was heroin, and I wish for a chance to heal and fix the mess that I have caused in my ignorance and foolishness. I sincerely want to right my wrongs, not just because I am guilty, but I think every one of us has a moral responsibility to live their lives the best they can in the service of others. Taking my life away can never justify my involvement in this, but giving it back to me with a second chance would justify, I believe, the life I would live from then on. People like Pannir and the 50 plus other people on death row deserve a second chance at life. We all do. If you haven't, please sign the People's Petition calling for a moratorium on the death penalty at our booth or on change.org/stopthekillingsg. And if you're a part of an organization that recognizes its connection with the anti-death penalty movement, please join 14 other arts and grassroots groups in the Alliance Against the Death Penalty, a coalition campaigning for the abolition of the death penalty in Singapore. You may reach them over Instagram.
With that, let's gather at the memorial for our brothers to be in community and grieve together. For Pannir, you may write to him words of love, strength, honor, and courage on the banner that you see on the left. And also leave your flowers for him on the banner. But don't leave just yet. I have some more instructions to give. So if you could just stay with me for a moment, that would be great. For our other brothers, you may rest your flowers tenderly on the shrouds. And you can look for a spot that doesn't have flowers and offer them there. If you look to the left later, there are flowers in bags of red on either side of the memorial. So if you don't have flowers or if you would like to take more flowers to place, please take them from the bags over there. Once you're done, please take a couple of minutes to sit around their tombs and the banner, forming circles around each of them as we hold and honor each of them. You're welcome to sit quietly, whisper words of love, reflection, and contemplation. As you do so, we invite you to reach deep in your heart and contemplate what their lives meant and what it means for our state to take them away. What it means to be able to grieve for them publicly, which is not allowed most of the time. When you're ready to take your leave, please remember to take the mourning pins that are at our booth. So, as we said earlier, there are still 2 execution notices that have been scheduled, and the execution is scheduled for next Wednesday. There is a man and woman who are scheduled to be murdered by the state next Wednesday for non-violent drug offenses, for being drug couriers. So, after this, one way that we can show our solidarity and resistance against the fact that this is happening is to take the mourning pins and carry them with us till Wednesday. And after also. Please keep it on for a week, wearing it to school, work, public transport, etc. to let this be a conversation starter for when you talk about the people on death row. Please also remember to return the tea lights at the booth before you go. Okay, so now let's start making our way over to hold vigil for Ahmad Salim, Muhammad Aswan bin Buhari, Rosman bin Abdullah, Masud Rahimi bin Mirzad, Syed Suhail bin Syed Zin, and 7 other brothers. And let's also share words of courage and strength for Pannir. Thank you all.